Welcome back. In this video, we'll talk about how Excel deals with text, and we'll look at some really interesting functions that help us manipulate text in our worksheets. So let's go ahead and get started. The most important thing that you can remember about how Excel deals with text is that essentially to Excel, text is meaningless. Text is just there to help the user. And indeed, we use text a lot in our worksheets to make our worksheets easier for users to read. So they're not just a list of numbers and calculations done on numbers, but so that we can tell people what the numbers actually mean. To Excel, it's meaningless to do a calculation on text. If I were to try to do that, I would get an error. So then what does text mean to Excel? Essentially, text to Excel is just a string of characters, or basically it's just a list of symbols and letters that Excel expects to have meaning to the user, but does not expect to do really anything with. Now there's some various functions in Excel that we can use to help us manipulate text, and we'll talk about a few of those. Since Excel deals with text as a string of characters, we can use a function called the len function, L-E-N, to see how many characters are strung together in a cell. So I'm going to go ahead and use the len function here to see how many characters are in the phrase, "I'm sure happy that I took computer class." Now, a couple words about the length, or the len function. It will count all symbols and spaces in a cell. So if I were to go ahead and get rid of a space here between sure and happy, I would see that the length of that string, the length of that collection of characters, is shorter because that space is gone. So a space is also a character. So would be punctuation, like this apostrophe, or if I were to add a period at the end. I can use the search function to find specific words or phrases or collections of characters within a block of text. So I can, as the first argument, tell Excel what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the word happy. And then I, as the second argument, tell Excel what cell to look in for that particular word or phrase. And then alternatively, I can tell it where to start, because a text stored in a cell is essentially just a collection of characters. I can tell Excel where to start in that collection. It doesn't have to start at the beginning. It could start at the beginning. I could say start with the first character, or I could say start with the 30th character, and it would start searching at that part of the string of characters or the phrase. In this case, since it's optional, I'm going to go ahead and omit the optional argument there at the end. It'll start searching at the beginning. Now what I get here is the number 10. The number 10 corresponds to the position where the phrase that I was looking for, in this case the word happy, starts in that particular phrase. So if I were to count this, I'm has 3 characters, fourth for the space, sure has 4 more, so that's 8, another space, so the word happy starts with the 10th character of that particular phrase. Now I could use the search function as a Boolean actually to see if a particular phrase or letter or collection of characters appears in a phrase. So if I were to say, is the result of this function greater than 0, that would tell me whether the word happy is part of that phrase or not. And if I were to change that, happy they instead of happy that, I should get false here, or it gives me no result because it's not able to find that particular string in that phrase. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to happy so that I can see that the word happy is the 10th character, or starts with the 10th character of that phrase. The left function will return a portion of a phrase. So let's say I'm only interested in the words that appear before the word happy in my phrase. So I'd use the left function. It asks for text as the first argument. That's the text that I want to return a portion of. And the number of characters is, starting from the left, how many characters do I want to return? Now I know that the H is the 10th character here, and so I don't want to account for the space either, so I'm going to say 8. So what this particular function will do is it'll start with the leftmost position of the text that's in cell C2, and it will return the first 8 characters that it runs into. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It should return the phrase "I'm sure." Now I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the write function really quickly because I think the intuition will already be there. The write function will start in the rightmost portion of a phrase, and it will return the number of characters that I specify starting from the right. So if I'm interested in returning the word class here with the period at the end, then I would start by using the write function, pointing it to the text that I'm interested in returning information from, and then the number of characters would just be counting backward from the rightmost part of that particular phrase. So the period is 1 character, class has 5 characters in it, so I want to return 6 characters from that phrase, and when I hit enter I should get the word class. The mid function actually lets me pull information from the middle of a phrase. So the 3 arguments for the mid function are the text that I want to return information from. In this case it's cell C2. The start number, that's where I want to start returning information from. And the number of characters is the number of characters that I want to return. So if I want to return the word happy here, I know that happy starts with the 10th character of my phrase. I know the word happy has 5 characters in it. So if I give the mid function the argument, go to the cell that has the phrase, "I'm sure happy that I took the computer class," start with the 10th character of that phrase, and return 5 characters from it, I should get the word happy. I use the upper function to convert all of the characters in a phrase to uppercase. I use the lower function to convert all of the characters in a string to lowercase. I can use the proper function to treat a phrase like it's a title and give it the proper case, or capitalize each of the first letters of each word. The concat function is interesting. It allows me to add different phrases together. You'll notice that my arguments are just blocks of text or strings, so I could add "I'm sure happy" together here by concatenating the value stored in C7 with a space here so that I don't bunch those letters together. Notice that this space is also text, and then the word happy. And I've basically just grouped these 2 blocks of text together with a space between sure and happy so that I don't bunch those 2 words together. The last function I'm interested in is the substitute function. As the name implies, the substitute function will let me take a block of text, find a portion of that text that I'm interested in changing, replace that text with something else. So in this case, I tell it the block of text that I'm interested in altering. The old text is what I'm interested in finding and replacing. So let's say I want to change the word happy to something else. The new text is what I want to change the word happy to. Maybe it's something like grateful. And then instance number is basically if that word happy appeared more than once in the text, I could specify which time I want to change. And in this case, I would be interested in changing all of them, so I'll leave that optional argument out. And notice that the text I'm sure happy that I took the computer class is changed to "I'm sure grateful that I took the computer class."